dig the toe of his Timberland into the top of her bare foot, grinding like he was putting out a cigarette. Sometimes he reminded her of his connections and how inexpensive it would be to have her killed. Iverson estimated her life was worth maybe $5,000. She believed he was an alcoholic, and no manner of plea or threat would keep him home and sober. Tawana spoke to his mother, Ann Iverson, begging her to talk sense into her son. She hounded Gary Moore, Iverson's childhood mentor, and now his personal manager, asking him to say something because he might not listen to most people, Gary, but you know he'll listen to you. She cried and asked gently, and when that did not work, she showed her teeth and asked angrily, slinging a champagne bottle against the wall and threatening to take the kids and the rest of his money if he did not stop drinking and throwing their future away. He told her he could stop any time he wanted, but he would not be told to do anything. That was never the way to get Iverson to do anything. And so she did as she said, filing for divorce in 2010, before baiting Iverson into signing a lopsided post-nuptial agreement before she moved back in one last time. She filed again in 2012 and hired a high-profile divorce attorney, telling him that she did not trust Iverson around their children. Not when they had been newborns, when he had blown off major events because he was too drunk, including the birth of his first son, and certainly not now that things had worsened. One of the court's first rulings was to order a substance abuse evaluation and gauge how severe the problem really was. The assessment by the substance abuse doctor, Michael Fishman, would go a long way in determining custody and visitation for the children. The test was simple, and all Iverson had to do was not have alcohol in his system for one day. He had scheduled the appointment carefully, factoring in his hatred of mornings, and asked for a window late in the afternoon. 4 o'clock it was, and now he entered the office and greeted the workers, 2 of whom could still smell alcohol on his breath from the night before. A while later, Fishman swabbed the inside of Iverson's mouth, and his saliva showed that even now, so many hours after that final drink, his blood alcohol content was between 0.06 and 0.08, the latter number indicating that, according to Georgia law, Iverson was still too drunk to even drive himself here. Then Iverson filled a cup with urine, and at 6 p.m., he still had enough booze in his system that the test showed his BAC was 0.05, suggesting to Fishman that on a most important day, with alcohol as the matter in question, Iverson had either gotten himself so shit-faced the night before that he was still drunk as afternoon turned to evening, or he had kept on drinking that afternoon. Iverson's test results made Fishman's assessment easy, and when Iverson finally met with the case's guardian ad litem, a court-appointed investigator and mediator, at the Fulton County Superior Courthouse, he had blown off their first appointment and called at the last minute to reschedule the second. She noted that Iverson smelled remarkably of alcohol. A different doctor had also smelled alcohol on Iverson's breath during yet another evaluation. In February 2013, about 6 weeks after his substance abuse test, Dawn Smith, the guardian ad litem, took the witness stand. She had interviewed Iverson several times by now, and during her testimony she pointed out that a man whose penchant for dramatic plays at dramatic moments had made him one of America's most famous athletes was now wilting in his personal life, a time when, more than ever, he needed to be clutch. "People in my experience, when you've got a guardian doing an investigation," Smith told the court, "they try to, act their best, do their best job at parenting. So in the midst of this, he still wasn't able to step up, despite the scrutiny." During the months that followed, friends and teammates from Iverson's life as a basketball icon tried to separate fact from fiction. How could he fall so far, so fast? They read the reports in the newspapers and on gossip websites. Could Iverson really be broke? Only a few years removed from a career that earned him more than $150 million.